Princeton University Press Audio presents The Girl in the Middle, A Recovered History of the American West by Martha A. Sandweiss. Read by Kate Handford. For Adam and Sarah. Introduction. The photograph. The girl in the middle demands our attention. She looks straight at the camera, wrapped tight in a trade blanket that conceals her body. 6 white men in military and civilian garb crowd her space, standing to either side of her, symmetrically framing her in the center. None of them look at her or acknowledge her presence, neither with a glance nor a reassuring hand. Who is she? Why is she there? Like most collectors of 19th century photographs, I think about why the pictures were made. I think about who made them and who saw them. I wonder how they ended up in the flea market or archive where they caught my eye. But I am also a historian, and I began to wonder whether I could identify unnamed subjects in some of the more well-known photographs that document the American Civil War and the nation's westward expansion. Might I be able to name that gold miner, that railroad worker, or one of those Union or Confederate soldiers lying in the fields at Antietam? The Civil War buffs quickly convinced me that if it were possible to identify those soldiers, it would have been done long ago, and by people far more expert in military dress than I. I imagined writing about a handful of old pictures, exploring how their meanings shift when we learn who the subjects are. The work proved harder than anticipated. It took me a long time to figure out the identity of the child in one of Alexander Gardner's Western photographs. But then, with her name in hand, I found her story, buried deep in legal files, memoirs, government records, and fading family memories. I soon realized I did not need more photographs. One was enough. This book uses a single photograph by Alexander Gardner, a celebrated Civil War photographer, as the springboard into a sprawling century of American history. Gardner made the picture in early May 1868 at Fort Laramie, a remote military outpost in Dakota Territory, along an overland trail. He was there to photograph the members of a federal Indian peace commission and the tribes of the northern plains with whom they hoped to negotiate a treaty. His picture of 6 commissioners and the unnamed child documents a pause amid weeks of intense diplomatic talks. The composition is formal and stiff, notable mainly for the presence of the unidentified girl. But the photograph invites us to wonder about the photographer and his subjects, to speculate about their lives beyond this staged moment on a hard-packed patch of earth. All of them, it turns out, have personal connections to the bigger events roiling the United States: slavery and its defeat, the Civil War, westward expansion, and the military and political assault on Native nations. All have complex family lives, and all have a deep familiarity with violence, the intimate sort inflicted behind closed doors, and the military sort unfolding in plain sight. The violence executed with guns and fists, and the violence enabled by legislative acts and legal rulings. Their lives make manifest the endemic violence of American life, violence sometimes hard to see because it is everywhere. The photographer captured a fleeting second of time. He could not see where his subjects came from. He could not know where they would end up. We can. We'll watch as they wander into the photograph, then walk off into the rest of their lives. Several copies of the photograph survive, each affixed to a stiff 14 by 19.5-inch cardboard mount, pre-printed with an ornate border. Gardner's name and studio address, and a title rendered in heavy Gothic type: Scenes in the Indian Country. Across the bottom, Gardner identifies his subjects in pencil: General Alfred Howe Terry, General William S. Harney, General William Tecumseh Sherman,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?